What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Gonna give you guys a little insight to Junior Dorcin's 6 Samurai deck that he just won YCS Indy with. Tell you guys my opinions on the deck and so on and so forth. Now, a lot of people say that my shock meter only has two numbers, 3 and 4. I'm at an absolute 10 right now that he was able to not only have so much success, but to win the event with 6 Samurai. I mean, absolutely no one saw that coming. Now, I actually have been testing 6 Samurai over the last couple of weeks because at the Charlotte Regional that I played in a couple of weeks ago, or just, last weekend, a 6 Samurai deck top 8'd that event. And I looked at it and it was my friend Zach Perkins. And I said, okay, well, I'll test it. And you know what? I had moderate success. And the deck does have some very good matchups against decks like Dark World or decks that, pretty much rely on spell cards. I mean, you're not really going to be able to get around Xian very easily if your deck is completely predicated on spells, or if you can slow roll and kind of just, one by one bait out back row with legendary 6 Samurai Xian. Alright, let's go into the deck list. 3 copies of legendary 6 Samurai Kizan, 1 Grandmaster, 1 Anishi, probably like the best monster in the entire deck, 1 Zanji, 2 copies of Kageki, 1 Iryu, 3 Kagemusha, 1 Elder, 2 copies of Maxi, 3 copies of Asceticism of the 6 Samurai, 3 copies of 6 Sam United, 1 Gateway to the Brokenness, 2 copies of Xian Smoke Signal, 1 Rhoda, 1 Reborn, 1 MST, and 1 Heavy Storm. He's got the Solemn Brigade, which is 2 Solemn Warnings and a Solemn Judgment, 2 copies of Magatama, 2 copies of Bottomless Trap Hole, 2 copies of Compulse Evac Device, 2D Prisons, and 1 Double-Edged Sword Technique. I found it interesting that he only ran Double Edge. My friend ran 3 copies, and I mean, Double Edge is really the card that lets you explode. It's the reason why you don't have to run multiple copies of MST in this deck. It's like you try and synchro, they negate, you just flip over Double Edge and synchro again. You know what I mean? Magatama is starting to be imperative in this deck because there's so much removal with the torrentials, the mirror forces, if you don't have Xian out, or to make sure that you get your Xian on the field. This card also stops Solemn Warning, which is huge, and if you hit it on a judgment, you're probably going to win. I think that one of the biggest reasons why 6 Samurai had so much success at this event is Asceticism. Asceticism is absolutely nuts right now. And the thing is, a lot of people don't know what you're doing when you activate 6 Samurai, or Asceticism of the 6 Samurai. There are so many different combos and loops. 6 Samurai can actually exceed just as well as they can synchro. Now, I think they might even be able to exceed better because of Asceticism. Okay, you can have Iryu out on the field, you can Asceticism into Anishi, activate his effect. You can summon Kizan, Asceticism into Zanji. If you have Kizan that's 2100, you can Asceticism into Grandmaster. You obviously guys know about the Kagemusha Elder play, but there are so many more different plays. In fact, if you have a Kageki that's 1700, you can Asceticism into Anishi or Iryu. So the deck has so many different plays, but they're kind of hard to see where the plays are coming from, that it can be difficult for your opponent to kind of know where it's coming, or what angles they need to defend themselves. Definitely good that he decided to play Maxi. I told you guys that everybody and their mama was going to be main decking hate for windups, and you see it here. I think that Maxi is probably better than Effect Veiler, because in this deck specifically, 6 Samurai always have field presence, but if your opponent goes first and they're trying to just, special, just draw a whole bunch of cards. I mean, eventually you'll be able to come back with Asceticisms and stuff like that and get some type of field presence with this deck. Overall, I think his side deck was built beautifully. You look at the fact that, Robbery it ruffle stomps windups, because again, it does the same exact thing that Goes in Much does. Everything in windups is so one thing is a fish and water, the next thing's a fire magician. The cards don't have any type of singular aspect outside of the fact that windups were in their name. So I do see this deck and I'm thinking, if this gets popular, you could start seeing some decks definitely be in trouble. If Dark World has a hard time now, if 6 Samurais get big, you might as well just completely eradicate that deck, because with the main deck Xian's Naturia Beast, add in D-Fissure, Dark World can basically go extinct. This is also a very good match. This also has a very good Dino Rabbit match. If you put Xian on the board, outside of Snowman Eater, they basically don't have any outs to it. I mean, they basically have to like make Doka and set a whole bunch of back row and get you to use like Xian's effect. So overall, I think the shock factor had a lot to do with it, and I think it's a pretty solid deck overall. I'm not sure how I feel about Six Samurai going forward though. Talk to you guys later. Hopefully you like this deck.